I just farted and I thought it was going to be a bit more spectacular than it was. Just to go. Anyways, hey guys, the bag of Gita here. And I'm fucking properly not enough and clocked out for the day, essentially. I've been volunteering at a multicultural festival in my city for a variety of reasons. My brother works there, and you know, I want to help him out, support him. You know, he's been doing it for the last few days. He's just been setting up, moving tables around, you know, just taking orders and, you know, making the thing happen. And it's nice for him when I'm there with him and I can give him some company and help him out. So yeah, I've been doing that, and it's just been a long day, and I'm like hella sunburnt because, of course, my white ass didn't want to wear any sunscreen. I put bug spray on though. Fuck those damn bugs. But yeah, this last few years it's been a lot of stay inside, for better or for worse. And now that, well, COVID's over and we're back to normal, whatever normal is, you know, we're out and about and we don't have our masks on and things feel like they're open again and all. And, you know, after a few years of renouncing the world and vipassanalyzing the external world into impermanent, empty micro blips of phenomenological sense data and sense blips, I don't know. It's been different, you know. The last few years of my life, I've changed a lot, I guess, and it's been a lot being away from, you know, normal life for a while, and I just feel like, you know, it's not like I've fully disconnected from the world. I'm blowing that up a little bit, but I haven't had like a regular group of friends. I haven't just been like in my culture, in my society. Like, you know, I think through the internet and through our media, where it's just so attached to us at this point. But in terms of just like being there in the flesh with your collective, there hasn't been a lot of that. Especially in just like a regular kind of social sense. Like I get together with a band here and there, you know, and that's been good. But yeah, just like getting together with friend groups again, you know, getting together with guys and jamming, going out to festivals and volunteering, going out to this youth program I'm involved in, you know, going out to church or temple or wherever I want to go. I don't know. It's been a variety of feelings, and it's good and it's bad as always. And it's a bit of a challenge, and I've felt a lot of different stuff, and it's been its own, like how life usually is. It's had its insights and it's had its ups and its downs. So that's kind of where I'm at, and I don't know. I find the whole introvert extrovert like kind of distinction a little tricky, a little unnecessary sometimes, but I think it can be helpful. I don't think anyone's exactly an introvert, exactly an extrovert. I'm not sure. I haven't really considered it much. I haven't really looked into a lot of the consideration around that, but I think I'm definitely more on the introverted side. But I mean, it doesn't mean that, like, I don't enjoy socialization. I don't enjoy, like, attuning to people, being with people. It's obviously very important, and if I deny that or try and bypass that, I'm full of shit, and I'm deluding myself and being avoidant. So yeah, it's been a lot of feelings. I'm just a bit tired at the end of the day, and I don't know. In some ways, I feel a lot more like appreciative and confident and grateful and attuned and caring and open and there. I'm truly present with my world, with my society. I feel like I can have myself and I can interact that with the external outside world out of that thing's little bubble of this messy room you see before you and this pigsty I've stayed in for the last few years and I've kind of burrowed myself into more or less. It feels nice. I feel like I have a greater sense of confidence than I did. I feel like I know myself deeper than I did before. But at the same time, I guess I just don't really feel entirely used to it, and there's a bit of bumps. Like I feel like I look weird, or I feel like I don't know, lonely, or like I don't know how to express myself a little bit. But I can be really kind of perfectionistic about that, and it's sometimes I just remember some of the reasons why I wasn't really interested in socialization much, or felt kind of lonely and isolated, because I feel like we bump into this issue of oversharing, and that's what I wanted to talk about in this. And I've already done my typical 5-minute introduction, but I feel good. I feel it. I feel ready to talk about some important things. So I lied. I introduced you to our main character of the story today, Bhagavad. But there's another character. So, hello, my friends. It's your boy, bumping into a school kind of connection or acquaintance or even friend at one point, bumping into him at the mall and striking up a conversation because we recognized each other, and remembering a kind of awkward history and amateur diagnosis of said individual as having maybe potential sociopathic tendencies, for a variety of reasons, which maybe I can get into. And he has his job as a security guard, and I just played it cool. I did my thing. I talked with him. I was friendly. And he made a joke about shooting black people, and I guess I don't know how I feel about that. And I guess I just sort of went along with it and made another joke about it myself so that I felt normal. And I guess I feel like it wasn't what am I trying to say here? What am I trying to get at? Because I feel like it relates to this issue of undersharing and oversharing. And I feel like throughout my life, we're exposed to this culture of different kinds of beliefs or ideas or jokes and humor or little, prejudices as we call them, or just like various judgments and things. And I've noticed a lot of it is junk or isn't what it seems to be. And in moments like these where, there's like a joke which is kind of unnecessary and is kind of insensitive, and when I think about it, it doesn't make me feel too good. And especially with this guy, he wants to be a police officer. And, we think of these things as jokes. We think of these things as, there's not much to it. And this guy, I don't want to take, like, I want to talk about this, and I want to talk about my own kind of behavior, my own relationship to these kinds of things that I have a certain feeling or a certain opinion about. And when my environment around me has a certain kind of take on it, or certain standards of acceptance, perhaps certain kind of, standards of what's said and what we think and what our opinions or ideas are, or what we want to express. And when maybe I would like to express something a bit different, but I feel uncomfortable with my expression because maybe it isn't exactly in line or within the scope of the expression of my environment at the moment, which is in conversation with this person with, their own sort of self, their own expression. But yeah, this guy is a bit of an interesting specimen, and I've known him for a bit. And he used to treat me badly in school, where we were friends, but he would be mean to me. He would make fun of me. He would tell me about how I was like retarded because of my ADHD, or he would like go out of his way to, I don't know, put me down in different ways, or to just like fuck with me or make me feel like inferior. I don't really remember all the specifics. I just know I had that sense from him, and I kind of disconnected with him. And in high school, like, I had a kind of shift where I wanted to be cool. I wanted to have like a girlfriend. I wanted to fit and not be the nerds anymore. I wanted to be the cool guys, and he was kind of on the cool guy thing, and he had a girlfriend. And he was one of those guys where he has a girlfriend, but he just kind of still messages all the girls in the school and asks for nudes. Um, and I remember asking him one time, like, do you actually like, because like he was still looking for nudes for these girls, and it was unfortunate. And he would talk with me about it, and he would um, share said nudes with me. Um, just kind of weird when you think about it. Like a lot of this stuff just seemed like normal, more or less, in high school, and I kind of feel uncomfortable talking about it now because, like, yeah, like it's not cool sharing naked pictures of each other in a like in that context. And I guess at the time I saw a bit of a problem with it, but I also didn't, and I don't think that was an uncommon sentiment with a lot of people in my school. And now it seems like, I don't know, you don't want to like admit or own up to that, and I feel uncomfortable just kind of saying that I received that from someone, because it just feels kind of gross, and I wouldn't want someone, well, the most mature, developed, like fucking capable and responsible parts of myself wouldn't like something like that happening. And I guess I just feel kind of gross about the whole situation now. Yeah. Okay, my mom's calling. I'm gonna pause this and I'm gonna come right back. Hey guys, Cake back. Slight guilt here. Shout out to all the eating disorders out there. But I took a reasonable slice, and it's my birthday. Well, tomorrow it is, but I have a gig tomorrow, and tomorrow is just a busy day again. But today I've had a bit more time for birthday stuff, I guess. Well, not really. I don't know. I don't really care too much about my birthday or not. It's just a fucking stupid day, but I'm turning 20. Let's jump right back into it because I was getting into a sticky situation for myself, and I need to explain myself and focus and not get distracted, because it's easy to get distracted and to become less focused when we get into uncomfortable conversations, because it requires precise, nuanced, considerate diction and expression and all, because there's sensitivities involved, there's all sorts of things involved. Anyways, I'm talking around it. So I forget where I was really at. I was talking about all sorts of problematic behavior of everyone involved. So yeah, I feel like owning up to these sorts of things that happened is uncomfortable, because I think as we mature, and not even just mature, like I think we obviously go through a psychological maturation, and I think if things like sharing naked pictures of each other without people's kind of consent, first of all, I think that's illegal. So I don't know, I guess I wasn't the one who sent the picture, so I guess I'm not legal, but I still am a dirtbag for receiving that and being open to receiving that and feeling this guy's shit, and also feeling my own kind of shit, you know, willingly seeing that. Thankfully I wasn't too weird about it. But I feel like it's uncomfortable to own that, and I would rather just keep that in the past and not interact with that, because it doesn't reflect, I don't know, what I deem is okay now. But at the same time, well, it's easy to kind of push that away because I've deemed now that that's something to be avoided. I will still attune to that similar kind of inconsiderate behavior. Like when I saw the guy today, and you know, he just made some stupid joke, and dumb young people my age, dumb people in the world, you know, will say these kinds of inconsiderate things, and it'll be a joke, and you don't mean anything by what you mean. You mean something by everything you say. Fuck the dumbass words you say. It's the intention. It's what you mean. And I don't care if just the way he would make a joke like that about shooting black people, and just given the context of his position as a security guard, a job that he doesn't give a fuck about, and the fact that he wants to be a police officer, it's just it's annoying. And I feel like rather than like it's not even like I needed to make a big scene about it and go and fucking whoop his ass. He'd fucking kill me. He's like taller than me. I'm like a baby. I don't fight people. uh, but I just kind of cracked under the pressure and just like acted normal, acted chill, and I made a similar joke. Like he was talking about how he's in police school, and I was like, "How could police school be that hard? Like, is it that hard to learn to just like that you have to shoot black people in the head?" Just some dumb joking. Granted, I mean, I think the content of what we mean with these jokes is important, and I think jokes about things like, I don't know, discrimination within our authoritative bodies, like our police services and shit. Because it's a problem. It's obviously a problem that people are talking about, people feel strongly about, that people that influences our social discourse and our kind of minds and personalities and beliefs and such. And you know, I think when we're kind of accounting for it and making light of it or making fun of it, um, I think maybe there's some room for jokes or things like that, because I think humor can be used as a way to relate with these more serious conversations and kind of have a breather and kind of just ease up a bit. But I feel like that's not an excuse for not being considerate, not having an actual opinion, not just disassociating and being, I don't know, did I already say inconsiderate? Inconsiderate is one of my favorite buzzwords. Consideration is a thing that I like to consider. What even is consideration, anyways? Um, let's consider that. And even if I was making fun of the police, I was making fun of, I don't know, this sort of thing which we notice of discrimination in police, I still feel like the joke was uncalled for, and I feel like it kind of supplied his sort of intention with it. And this intention I've got from him for a while, and this intention which is kind of common, I noticed in my school and in my education and in my community, where it was okay to make these kinds of jokes. It was okay to make different assertions about different races and make jokes and things. And I think a lot of these jokes and these things that we say, they reflect different kinds of prejudices which we hold, and we can express these sides of ourselves which we don't give our attention to, which are kind of in the shadow of our society, because we deem that, you know, maybe it's not okay to discriminate against people for their race or their upbringing or for this and that, and to make broad kind of generalizing statements and to hold such a vitriol and such a kind of prejudicial assertion towards these people. And I think some of us more or less might have some of these sorts of assertions towards these kinds of people based on, I don't know, generalities in the behaviors of certain races which have their own reasons and in-depth chains of causality. And I think it's very easy to be inconsiderate, misunderstanding, and, well, ignorant towards having a sense of, I don't know, understanding or just maturity around that whole thing. And I think it comes up in a lot of ways as jokes or little things like this that we do. And it's something I've noticed in myself, and it's something like I have given a lot more of a shit about, and our society has learned to give a lot more of a shit about. But I feel like a lot of it is still bullshit, and I feel like even when we push at this, when we're social justice warriors and we are calling out problematic behavior, and we are seeing the problems, you know, problems, and we are canceling, and we are silencing, and we are doing all of that. We can't just silence what we don't like, I don't think, because it's still gonna poke its head out, and it still does. And it's very common that, you know, we're inconsiderate, or we don't have mature conversations, or these sorts of things are still, I don't know, happening. And I feel uncomfortable about it, because I feel like when I'm faced with a situation like that, I don't want to be problematic relative to, I don't know, the environment or the context of the situation. And I think that I can get by. I don't want to cause problems. I don't want to, well, express myself sometimes. Well, be to take all of the aspects of myself into consideration and to not just do what's easy or what's comfortable, and to not just brush off or laugh off his joke about, I don't know, deliberately targeting black people in his mall on security or this and that, regardless of if it's a joke or not. Because, you know, as I said, I think it's intertwined with unconscious prejudices and this and that and the other, blah, blah, blah. Because I guess there's no way out. I guess I'm just being, well, for lack of better words, weak. And I am just allowing or fueling or even supplying, or it's not even like I gave him a pat on the back. I'm like, yeah, big shout out to fucking racism, man, that's awesome. But unconsciously I kind of just let that slide, and I didn't need to be a dick about it because that's not going to be helpful, I don't think. Maybe in some context, maybe that is what's helpful, but I don't think in my position that's what I needed to do. I think I could have just given the indicator that I didn't think that was funny, I didn't think that was necessary, and I would not have that. I wouldn't express myself as such, and I think expressing myself as such, well, is inconsiderate to maybe the wider kind of context of the conversation or this kind of assertion. I can think about it in a lot of ways, and I'm just not too happy with that. And I notice with my socialization, I struggle to express myself. I struggle to integrate, I don't know, my personality with my world, with where I may end up. And I'm happy to be in a lot of different places. And I think we need boundaries, obviously. Like, I don't think we want to end up in places that are just fucking stupid for us to be in. But I don't want to be too discriminative, and I don't want to be a hard ass, and I don't want to limit where I can be just based on, I don't know, maybe people not being always considerate. Because I think when you make such strong kinds of differences between yourself and others, and what's tolerable behavior or not, to an extent, yeah, it's important. We need to hold people accountable. We need to have standards. We need to say, you know, that's not okay. Like, and we do that. We have laws and we have this and that, but those are changing, yeah. And I think that it's easy to be very conservative with that, to be very conservative with our agenda and with our assertion of what's allowed, what's okay, you know, what we think. And we need to hold that. We need to hold ourselves. But we're in a world of differences. We're in a world of people who have different selves. And I kind of talked about this in another thing I've recorded before about social anxiety and about the whole kind of social matrix and expressing ourselves and fitting in and sharing and what kind of bubbles or aspects of this sort of vast external social world we inhabit. And I'm very interested in openness and experiencing all sorts of stuff, having space to be with my dumb friends and to make dumb jokes, but to do so with reason and to be authentic. I don't think authenticity is always being the same or whatever. It's about reading this room, reading the situation. It's about knowing yourself. It's about knowing all the aspects of yourself. Look, when I'm with my grandma, I might not express myself the same way I express myself when I'm with my dumb young people high school friends. And they're not dumb, they're amazing, they're beautiful, and I enjoy my time with them. But it's different than spending time with grandma. It's different from spending time at the Buddhist temple. It's different than spending time with my mom. It's different than spending time on this channel, because there's a time and place. But we need to watch out, because then we build different personas. Things don't add up, and it's in it. We let things slide. Maybe we're just not going to be considerate. We're not going to be fair to ourselves. We're not going to be fair to what we really think. And I think the struggle is, like, how do we get across? Like, how do I not have to give myself up? Why do I feel so scared? Why am I being, well, a little bit of a bitch? I think it's fair to say that I was a little bit of a bitch today when he said that, and I just kind of went along with that and went against my own kind of, well, inner sense. And I kind of don't feel okay with it for a variety of reasons, as I kind of went over. I'm gonna have some cake. I feel like it's kind of uncomfortable to own all of that, because there's a part of me which feels almost slightly narcissistic about it, I mean, which feels uncomfortable, which feels like a bad person, which feels shameful, which has that sense. And I feel like I have this sneaky narcissistic tendency, and what I like to do is, if I can be self-aware, I can be self-referential, I can explain myself, and I can own that behavior, then it can be okay, and I can do better, and I can be self-aware, and I can say, yeah, I did that stupid thing. And I think the reason why I want to be self-referential, why I want to understand myself, is because it's not okay for a variety of reasons. But in the moment, it was okay to me because I acted in that way. I did that thing. And if I didn't have a sense of shame, a sense of, well, maybe that isn't okay. Maybe it isn't okay to make those jokes, to let that slide, or to react to that in the way that I did. Is it because I really feel that way, or is it because that's just what I'm being told to do? And I get this sense a lot in our society that we need to accept gay people. We need to accept these systematic issues that we face. You know, the whole social justice thing. And a lot of us don't like that very much. Or we pretend, we act like it's not okay to say the N-word. We act like it's not okay to discriminate or to hold certain prejudices, or we act like we're not homophobic. But then when you're out with your friends, oh, what do you know? You're making fun of the transsexual person. You're making this or that judgment. Maybe someone slips an N-word here or there, makes a joke about shooting black people. And are you still in that space? Are you still, I don't know, the one who's not homophobic, the one who's not racist, the one who cares, the one who gives a shit about George Floyd or whatever in those situations? And I feel like, I guess I get it, because there's a reason why we have these problems, because they're deep rooted, and I really think that they take real introspection and real genuine care. And a lot of the times it's easy to kind of bullshit that because everyone else is doing that, everyone else is going with that, and we get this sort of attitude of virtue signaling, or these other criticisms that people make of the whole social justice thing. And maybe I can understand that a little bit, because maybe there's a little bit of that in me as well, as much as there's also the problematic side of not having enough of that in me as well. So there's narcissism everywhere. There's kind of self-aggrandizement everywhere in this whole thing, and I find it can be very tricky to always navigate and to stay authentic about. And I think the way through that is we need to actually genuinely care about these issues, and to rationally see them through, and to take the axioms of these sorts of things like discrimination and these various atrocities and events that happen where people are killed unnecessarily, and there's violence and things that happen based on discrimination or prejudicial factors, and to see that and to empathically kind of get that, and to not just get it because other people are giving you that force, you have that strong kind of cultural momentum, but to individuate and to feel that for yourself. And I think that takes a genuine caring, a genuine willingness, a genuine wantingness to understand that. And you have to have the insight, and you have to have the seeing for yourself. And am I really there? On some extent, I want to say yeah, but then I'm still making these dumb jokes. I'm still letting stuff like that slide. So I think I still have work to do. So there's a lot of different stuff to consider, and I was going to talk about oversharing and undersharing, but now it kind of turned into whatever this was, so I'm going to leave it at that, I guess. I feel a little bit uneasy about it, but I'm happy I expressed it, and I felt like I was as open as I could be, and I guess I'm satisfied with that. And I'm honest, what if I'm satisfied with almost maybe not being entirely satisfied, or almost cool with being a little uncool, cool, or I can allow myself to feel a little bit uneasy. I can allow myself to be a bit vulnerable. I can allow myself to be a little bit problematic. And maybe the way through problems is to accept that it's not to disown the problem, say there's not a problem, but to allow yourself to be problematic, to own what's problematic, and to do better, not to get away, not to not be problematic, because I think that we need to own our humanity, and I think it's too easy to put the problems out there. And I'm all for owning ourselves radically, and that seems like it's my job at least. So I'm gonna keep doing that, and I did my best to do that here.